everybody, welcome to another lesson of learning Japanese. In this video, we are doing another resource review wherein we check out some resources that are known to help people learn Japanese, and we try it out for ourselves and kind of give a review of how effective it is at teaching the language or helping you expand your knowledge of the language in general. So today's video is going to be a resource review of Lingualift. So what is Lingualift? Lingualift is a website that helps people learn foreign languages, not just Japanese, but of course we'll be trying only the Japanese version. And so what this is basically, as far as I can tell, the closest thing to a Japanese class if you're trying to learn Japanese but only have the internet as a means of doing so. So this is very much like an online textbook, and it emulates an idea of a curriculum pretty well. It has a very sleek design, almost as if you're using a social network, and it has a lot of resources within itself. There's as you can see from the page here that I have displayed, we are logged into our free account and we're looking at the introduction page. This is the first thing that you'll see when you register for an account and log in, and this is the appealing first page that will try to entice you to start learning Japanese. And you'll see here that we have subjects, hiragana, katakana, which are very basic introductory topics, which is perfect. It has kanji here, and we also have something here that says live tutoring, and this is actually a third party resource basically from italki.com, where you get to chat with people and practice the languages that you want to practice, such as Japanese. And we actually have an affiliation with Italki. We are part of their affiliate program, so if you want to give that a try, we have links in the description. Of course, if you're weary about affiliated sponsorship or anything like that, we'll provide just the basic link too, so you don't have to actually choose our affiliate link to go check that out. So that is a resource to talk to people on video chat like Skype and whatnot to practice Japanese or other languages that you might want to pursue. So anyway, back to the main resource here, which is Lingualift. So if you want to try it out for yourself, it actually does cost money, but what we're doing right now and what you can do as soon as you finish watching this video, or even if you want to exit this video and try it out right now, you can try a 14-day trial on their website for free. Not quite sure why it's 14 days, kind of an odd number to pick, but that's the deal. And so 14 days should be more than enough to get a feel of if you want to commit to the curriculum by paying and continuing on with the more advanced lessons, I guess, if you can get through the introduction. So what we're going to do right now is do just that, get through the introduction. So we have a lot of options here. I don't know, this is my first time doing this, so let's just click on introduction. So we see here that it has a bunch of subchapters, which is very much like a textbook. We have this pop-up here of a Japanese teacher who is guiding us through things. So let's just use the arrow keys to kind of skim through this if it's not too important. So we have a post about cake here, so let's read that because we're all about cake. At the end of each chapter, you'll arrive at a section called cake. This is your time to take a break, sip on some tea, and review all that you have learned in the chapter. At the beginning of each cake, you'll find a film recommendation that's relevant to the chapter that you have just read that you may wish to watch, that's pretty cool. Retaining the interest factor so you can be interested in the language while learning it, so it's not too boring all the way through. Furthermore, in recognition of the fact that YouTube is full of fun, odd, and humorous output from Japan, we include a video for you to watch. Here's a dog catching a ball. We will skip that. Here's a little blurb about kanji, a little introduction to kanji, which looks very informative, but we're going to skip it. Origins of kanji, historical context is very important, as you should know if you've kept up with this channel. We'd like to delve into that because it's interesting, and the interest factor retains your commitment to learning the language. Combining kanji, so very informative post here. Again, this is very much like a textbook in terms of how much it is telling you about context, history, and technicalities. So now we get to hiragana for some reason after kanji, but that's fine too. So hiragana, introduction to hiragana here. Very informative still. Very informative. Horizontal versus vertical. This is talking about the writing style of Japanese. They traditionally write vertically. Okay, so now this is where we get into actually learning hiragana here, it seems. It's going to show us a hiragana table. So we'll click on this and we get to a table, a PDF showing the table. Let's go back. That's cool. And so now let's move on. So far it's all just reading so far. No kind of like questions, interactive stuff, but let's see as we move on. So we see here that's introducing the first character. Just from the first character, it has, look at this, 6 paragraphs of information, which is pretty cool. Moving on, we have the vowels here. We have more hiragana. So here, this is stroke order, which is too important. I don't know. If we're gonna be honest here, I actually have not paid that much attention to stroke order while pursuing Japanese. So it's definitely a thing to point out though at the beginning, so you should know. And now we have some buttons here. So this says visit hiragana camp. This sounds like it's gonna be a fun game of some sort. So here we go here, and we heard that just now. So we can do a quiz now. So this is a quiz helping you match hiragana characters. So far we're only on the first character, which is and it has different types of modes where you can match it or you can type the English equivalent. And now we finished the quiz, and you can redo it if you feel like you haven't mastered this letter yet, or you can press this button which says mark as known, which means you're surely not going to forget it at this point. So now it moves on to the next character, and what we didn't notice before is that you can also press this before going to the quiz at all, which means you already know the character, perhaps from before even trying this at all. So you can skip characters, and here it seems like it's going to span, just the vowels apparently. And now we'll probably move on. Okay, we're moving on to cause. The K's now, and let's just try to skip C if it actually covers the whole alphabet, which it probably definitely does. So now we know that this is, so basically they have a game for you to play to memorize hiragana as a whole. So that is very useful indeed if the kind of brute force of just writing them down over and over isn't going to work for you, even though it, in my opinion, it should. Most learning Japanese resources in terms of hiragana and katakana, they kind of make too big of a deal out of the syllabary, the alphabet basically, when it really should just take you hours of just writing the characters over and over to commit them to memory. That's the fastest way, definitely. And it doesn't really matter how intensely you are doing, it should only take about a week to memorize hiragana. And yeah, so let us go back somehow. How do we go back? So this is learning options. We can review or we can press learn, which kind of sounds like the same thing, but I'm assuming learn means move on to new material. Maybe it doesn't. Let's press back to dashboard again. Review? Uh-oh, this looks hard. I feel like we should be able to skip this, but let's see how many questions it asks us. So what we're doing here is it's giving us the English for the word, the romaji basically, and you fill in the katakana equivalents. Yes, we're just gonna reason it. So not really explaining. No, it should be something like picking match letters. So these questions is good. Oh my god, I got it wrong. I got it wrong, I'm a failure. I am now giving this channel away because I do not deserve to be the host. Where's it? Hey, yeah. No, I think where's So as you can see, this is quite extensive. If they actually put the meanings of the words here too, you could also maybe put in a little extra effort and learn some new words, but I feel like they're focusing on the characters mostly, so there's a lot of questions. Please let me go. Oh wait, the definitions are right here. What am I talking about? So they do let you learn some new words while you're doing this. I don't know how I missed that. It's like in bold. How do let's just use this main toolbar. Let's press home. So that was hiragana, and here, how about we skip to greetings and numbers. So we have more kind of blurbs, posts to give some contextual information, some example conversations here, which is pretty cool. We have cultural notes, the untranslatable. Let's check out that. So a decent paragraph about how yoroshiku onegaishimasu is kind of untranslatable to English because there's no equivalent to it. Now we're at basic numbers. So it has a chart, but it also has audio files for you to
1、
listen to hear
2、
what it sounds like,
3、
the pronunciation. Now some more numbers, and it has here another cultural note about unlucky numbers. And here it links to a blog post actually that they've written about lucky and unlucky numbers in Japan, which I actually have coincidentally already read. This is actually my first introduction to Lingualift before I even decided to do this resource review. So anyways, next age, next. So a lot of subjects, a lot of cultural subjects. And now here we arrive at cake, which is once again the kind of end of a chapter and kind of a fun little thing where you can watch videos that pertain to what you just learned. So now we're going to move on to the next chapter, which is katakana, which we're actually going to skip. Because that's just going to be kind of a repeat of hiragana. Let's move to introduce yourself. So here we have some important articles about particles such as wa and ga. Let's move on. Nationality, occupation, so some vocab lists about the topics such as occupation. So here's a list of jobs basically. We have the question marker ka. We have education. What does that mean? So some school setting stuff, I assume. Hobbies and interests, strengths and weaknesses. Let's move on to understanding and fluency. So this is how to convey that you are good or bad at something, it seems. So let's move on to level 2. Adjectives. So adjectives, e-adjectives, not adjectives, exceptions. This is a good note here how yoi is the origin of e basically. Cake, an interesting video here. And the kind of films that they allude to and suggest are actually quite distinct films. Takeshi Kitano is actually a very prominent director. Moving on, verb basics. So verbs here. Let's see, conjugation, ru verbs, u verbs, all the essential stuff right here at the mall. Oh, this is cake. So now let's move on to level 3, see what that offers. Making an appointment. So it's giving us, dates. So this is dates, lost in the city. So these are kind of scenarios in which you would be having conversations with people, I suppose. At the cinema, trip to the country, going out, after party. Let's move on to level 4. Visiting a doctor. So some more scenarios and again vocab lists pertaining to the topic at hand. This is at the doctor's basically, so vocab words of anatomy and anatomy. Moving on to the next topic, we have Christmas, New Year, visiting a shrine, and then let's press next list, or let's go to the end of this. Or what is this? Causative form? So here, for some reason, a pretty essential, pretty darn essential topics in a kind of randomly named subchapter. So causative form, passive form, these are verb conjugations, of course. By means of, only, just. So these are very important basic grammar patterns that you should definitely know or definitely need to know to participate in basic conversation. Causative passive is actually a conjugation form that we actually haven't even covered in this video channel, but we should eventually. But if you can't be bothered to wait for that, then you can try this out and read this post. So now let's move to the end again, and oh, here's Spirited Away. Move on. How do we move on? Next lesson. And here there is no next lesson button, so let's just press home. So that was the 4 levels, and it seems that maybe that's the limit for the trial.
会う
Let's just test around and press these other buttons. So here we're in the kanji database where it has 200 kanji, 400, 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1400, 1600, so 2000, 2600 kanji characters here for you to reference. And I'm assuming this is going to be like some kind of game to play, which is pretty crazy. It's a good resource because you definitely need some extra resources to help you with kanji, because just writing them over and over forever can be kind of grueling work, and I don't know what's going on. Okay, so here are some kanji games, basically about the same thing as what we played with the hiragana. Let's check out some more options if there are any. So we're back at the home page, and that seems that might be the limit for the free trial. So just to do a kind of comprehensive, or not comprehensive, but a review of what we've looked at so far, let's see what is offered in this free trial basically. So first we have introduction. It'll kind of get you in the mood to learn Japanese by talking about the language, introducing kind of cultural history. We have introduction to hiragana, greetings, numbers, katakana, introducing yourself, talking about friends or families, strengths and weaknesses, adjectives, definitely important, describing objects, counting and listing, important, verb basics, definitely essential there. At home, these random topics right here, and there's kind of more subchapters nested in there. A lot of basic scenarios for you to be talking to somebody in Japanese. And as we know, again, there's like nested chapters in here. What we saw earlier was the essential causative form, passive form, stuff like that. So Lingualift's free trial here, what it offers is a very good, very extensive introduction to the Japanese language. It'll teach you the characters, the 3 character sets, hiragana, katakana, and kanji to a certain extent, depending on how you use that resource. It'll tell you about basic topics like numbers, greetings, introducing yourself. It'll cover the basics of verbs, and it'll cover the basics of adjectives, which are definitely essential basic stuff in language. And so just from them covering the basic essentials of katakana, hiragana, kanji, verbs, adjectives, and stuff like that, they definitely provide an extensive amount of information per topic, and they try to make it fun. So this is definitely the closest thing I've seen online that resembles a kind of classroom setting where you have a textbook with a lot of information, and you have a teacher who kind of controls the curriculum, tries to make it fun while focusing on important information at the same time. And of course, there's this kind of service here of talking to people, tutors, I suppose, that I have not tried yet, and I don't know if we should try that in this review. So you can consider doing that to a kind of interactive, interpersonal resource there. And so, yeah, I think that should be enough for the closing words of Lingualift. I think at this point, if you've been watching our channel, if you've seen all of our videos already, you might be a little too far, or you probably are a little too far to be getting a really good kick out of these subjects, because you should probably already know them if you've watched all the videos on our channel. But if you haven't, you've watched a couple of our videos and you still haven't kind of established your introduction into the language, you're just kind of casually watching and keeping track of the topics that we covered, you might want to give this a try, because it's free, of course, and because it has a lot of information, a lot of contextual information that I definitely would have wanted to go into in each of our videos, but definitely that would have made the videos go well past like 10, 15, 20 minutes. So in text, it's just as informative as me talking about it on camera. So yeah, give this a check if you're interested. Hopefully we've given a good look at this from this resource review. And with that, this has been another video of learning Japanese covering Lingualift, the website that basically emulates a classroom curriculum for you to learn languages.